Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Matt Antonelli here. Now, there's a lot of baseball news starting to come out. Commissioner Manfred did an interview a couple days ago, and he said baseball will be back. Hopefully it is back at some point this summer. Now, there's still a lot up in the air, obviously, but the MLB and the MLBPA did take a nice step in the right direction yesterday, coming to a deal that determined a lot of things like service time, salaries, the draft, etc. Now, there are a lot of things that still need to get worked out, and obviously the virus is going to be the key thing that kind of determines when we're able to finally get back on the field. But the MLB and the MLBPA have continued to work together to try to make some resolutions and figure out what will happen eventually when we do get back onto the field. So Commissioner Manfred said that nothing is off the table, and that's probably the biggest thing right now, because Major League Baseball and the Players Association are going to have to get creative, because if we do get back to baseball this summer, it is going to be a shortened season. There's not going to be 162 games, and so they're going to have to get creative to figure out how can we get as many games in as possible while still being safe, keeping the players safe and healthy. Now, the commissioner said that he hopes the sport can begin preparing for a season at some point in May, but the league will work with infectious disease experts before determining its exact return. So here's a quote from him. He said, "Look, my optimistic outlook is that at some point in May, we'll be gearing back up. We'll have to make a determination, depending what the precise date is, as to how much of a preparation period we need, whether that preparation period is going to be done in the club's home cities or back in Florida and Arizona. Again, I think the goal would be to get as many regular season games as possible and think creatively about how we can accomplish that goal. Whenever it's safe to play, we'll be back. Our fans will be back. Our players will be back. And we will be part of the recovery, the healing in this country from this particular pandemic." So one thing to keep in mind is that the players are going to need some time to get back into shape and back ready to play in actual major league games. That's what spring training is for. And spring training is mostly, to be honest, it's mostly about the pitchers. Yeah, the hitters need to get back into shape. I always felt like as a hitter, when you get to spring training, the first couple days, man, you are sore. No matter what you do in the offseason. I used to work as hard as I possibly could in the offseason, 7 days a week to prepare for the season. But there's nothing truly like actually playing baseball every single day for 8 to 10 hours a day. It takes a little while to get used to that. And obviously it takes a little bit of some time to get your timing down and all that stuff. But honestly, most of spring training is for the pitchers. They have to build their arms back, and you can't rush that. Okay, so you can't just jump on a mound and be like, okay, I'm ready to pitch. You have to slowly build it up. Now, I don't think when we finally do get back, hopefully we do get back, and players have to get ramped back up, I don't think they're going to take a month and a half like they do in spring training to get ready. They're probably going to go a little bit quicker than that, but it still is going to take some time to get pitchers in particular ready to play in a major league season game to ensure that they're healthy and they don't rush back too soon. So here's another quote from the commissioner. He said, "We're probably not going to be able to do a 162 game season, but nothing is off the table for us right now. I think we are open, and we've had some really positive conversations with our Players Association about relaxing some of the rules that govern our schedule. They're very focused on returning to play and playing as many games as possible. And when you have that kind of positive dialogue, it creates an opportunity to do things that are a little different. You're not committed to them over the long term because this year is a unique circumstance. But there's a lot of ideas out there, and we are really open to all of them." So now let's get into some of the ideas that he talks about, and then I have an idea or two on my own. So the first thing is double headers, okay? Now, I think this is going to definitely be part of the plan, is to play more double headers. They're going to have, they're not going to have as many days to get a full season in, and they're not going to get a full season in. But depending on how late we start, we're going to have to play doubleheaders to get a good chunk of games in. Now, with doubleheaders, you do have to be careful a little bit, because a doubleheader does take a toll on a player's body, and it takes a toll on a pitching staff, right? You only have so many pitchers, and so if you're trying to cram in too many games, it's going to be really hard for pitchers and for position players as well. It's tough to play 18 innings. Now, are they going to shorten some of those games? That's actually the second thing here is 7-inning games. The commissioner talks about 7-inning games. Now, I'm not sure if he's talking about just regular games being 7 innings to keep the volume of innings down, or if he's talking about double headers. It doesn't state that specifically. I'm assuming he means double headers. You know, maybe you have a double header and they're both 7-inning games, or maybe one's 9 and one's 7. When I was in the minor leagues, and I believe they probably still do this, if a game got rained out, so say you had a 9-inning game, a normal game, and it got rained out, and you were going to make it up the next day, well, then you would have a double header, but one of those games would be 7 innings, so they would cut it down a few innings just to help out, again, help out the pitchers mostly. So maybe they're going to do that, have double headers and have one game 7, or maybe have both games 7 innings. If it's just a normal baseball game with only one game, I'd like to see 9 innings. I think, you know, we're all used to 9 innings. Players are used to 9 innings. Managers are used to setting up bullpens for 9 innings. I always felt like when I played a 7-inning game, even in the doubleheader, and I agree, if we're going to do doubleheaders, I don't mind cutting it down a little bit on some of the doubleheaders, but I always thought it was weird. I'd always be playing in the doubleheader, the 7-inning doubleheader, and then it'd be like the 6th inning, and my brain is so used to a 9-inning game, everyone's brain is. Even in the 7th inning sometimes, I wouldn't remember, like, it was tough for me to comprehend, like, no, we're not playing 9 innings today. We're only playing 7 innings. And I'd forget, and just the game situations that you're used to playing, like the way you're used to playing every inning, and defensively especially, but even offensively, things are going to change. You're going to play things a little different depending on the score of the game, the outs, but then the inning of the game, right? And so it always took a long time to get used to, and a lot of times you wouldn't get used to it. I'd be playing, I'd be like, oh, the game's over? Oh, that's right, it's a 7-inning game. So that is definitely a little bit challenging to get used to. So another idea they're talking about is a neutral site World Series. So this would allow us to play the season later into the year, because it's obviously going to get cold. And, you know, if you have, let's say, the Yankees in the World Series, you can't really have a World Series too late because it's going to be freezing cold out. So they're talking about maybe having a neutral site so that we can play the season longer. And for the World Series, we'll just go down to Florida. We'll go to a dome stadium or something like that, which would allow us to play longer. And then also possibly an expanded playoff system, again, which would just push the season back even deeper. Now, another thing that the commissioner doesn't get into in this article is extra inning games. What would happen? Would you continue to play extra inning games? I think, listen, I know people are like, you can't have baseball and then a tie. You can't do it. You can't do it. But I do think something would have to be done to extra inning games, especially in a shortened season. You're going to be trying to cram in games. You're going to be having double headers. You can't have teams playing 20-inning extra inning games, in my opinion. You're already going to be pushing the limits of what pitching staffs are going to be able to do and what position players are going to be able to do in a shortened season. So in extra innings, I don't know how you want to do it. I don't know if you want to end the game in a tie. People are really against that. But then when you start talking about having runners start on base, people are like, no, we can't have people start on base. So something has to be done. I personally could care less if you end in a tie. I know that it doesn't happen in baseball, but if you say, listen, we're going to play a certain amount of innings, and if there's no winner, you get a tie. Okay, like that. For me, that's not the end of the world in a shortened season. But let me know in the comment section below, if you were going to switch up extra innings, how would you do it? Would you end in a tie? Would you start a certain inning with a runner on second base or something like that? What would you rather see done? I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, no, don't change it up. But I'm telling you, in a shortened season already with doubleheaders, you're going to have to do something with extra innings, or else guys are going to just get burnt out, or pitching staffs are going to be blowing out arms. All right, so that's what we got. That's the commissioner. Those are some of the ideas. Put in the comment section below also if you have any other ideas. What would be some other ways, some creative ways to be able to still get in a lot of games in a shortened season? Let me know what you guys have in the comment section below. I would be interested to see what you guys come up with. And that's all we have today. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you subscribing to the channel. If you haven't done so already, make sure you do. Hit the notification bell. Thank you to our patrons on Patreon for supporting the channel. And that's all we have. We'll talk to you later.